Three Amigos is truly one of the most original comedies of the 1980s. It laid the groundwork for movies like Galaxy Quest and Tropic Thunder, which also centered around actors being thrust into real adventure.
They are going to kill us.
The movie does a really great job in showing how these three actors end up being mistaken for heroes, cleverly layering the story with details that set this up.
I'll put infamous El Guapo.
This is owed to the script, written by Steve Martin, Lorne Michaels, and Randy Newman, a trio more diverse than the Amigos themselves.
Excuse us, we're not Mexicans. We're from out of town.
When reading their original screenplay, it becomes so evident how much fun it was writing this movie, as it's just packed full of comedy gags and jokes, with something funny happening on virtually every page.
Tell me, Carmen, do you know what foreplay is?
No.
Good. Neither does El Guapo.
The script gives each of the three leads time to shine in their own way, while also giving them great scenes as a trio. As a result, the screenplay came in at 123 pages, which is around 20 pages more than the standard comedy script.
We strayed from the formula, and we paid the price.
Director John Landis stuck pretty close to it when filming though, later being forced to cut out around 40 minutes of footage to keep the film under 2 hours, resulting in a plethora of deleted scenes.
A what? A plethora.
When preparing for the 25th anniversary Blu-ray in 2011, Landis was asked by the studio about including some of these deleted scenes. He discovered a 35mm print of an early cut of the movie that contained about 20 minutes of deleted scenes.
Cause I'm so goddamn happy. He's so gosh darn happy. I'm so goddamn happy today.
Though sadly, a lot was still missing, presumably meaning that they are lost forever. I want to use these deleted scenes that were found, as well as the script, to look at what this long-lost content might have looked like. And who knows, maybe someday they will be found somewhere.
That'll be the day.
This is the lost version of Three Amigos.
Let's go!
As the movie stands in its theatrical cut, the plot is set up and the Amigos arrive in Mexico around 20 minutes into the movie. In the script, however, it takes them 40 pages, or what would have been 40 minutes into the movie, before they arrive in Mexico.
Great. Let's get it over with.
Most of this original opening consisted of setting up the Amigos' lives in Hollywood, as they lived together in a giant mansion, complete with a butler named James and a young servant boy. Here's an exchange early on where the Amigos try to figure out why that servant boy is acting so strange. Lucky calls to James. James, what's going on? Well, Billy seems to work better if I just give him a swig of Mrs. Weems every once in a while. James, you know what you're doing? There's alcohol in those things. You're getting him drunk. Oh no, I checked the label. There is no alcohol in here at all. I was very cautious about that, sir. Lucky takes the bottle and reads the label. Water, cod liver oil, mandrake root, cocaine, eucalyptus, sorghum. No, everything's fine. Sorry, James. Another cut scene established during this mansion sequence revolved around each of the Amigos unknowingly romancing the same woman, their maid, Katrina. I should also point out that in the script, Chevy Chase's character Dusty was originally named Lester. Interior kitchen day. Lucky walks over to Katrina. He kisses her and puts his hands on her breasts. Katrina, last night was... Yes, it was. Same time tonight, 11:30. Yes, tonight. I love you. Interior dining room day. Ned rises. I'll see what's keeping Lucky. He slips and slides to the kitchen door. Interior kitchen day. Ned enters. They separate quickly. Lucky quickly covers. And a little less salt on my morning omelet. Of course. He exits, leaving Ned alone with Katrina. Ned walks over to her and puts his hands on her breasts. Last night. Incredible. Same time tonight? 1 a.m.? Yes. Tonight it's your turn. Katrina is very pleased at this. Interior dining room. Lucky comes back to the table, sliding all the way. Lester gets up to go to the kitchen. Excuse me, Lucky. Then, Lester enters from the foyer. Ned and Katrina break suddenly. Ned covers. And my shirt should be cleaner, brighter, and less starch. Yes, sir. Ned exits. Lester is alone with Katrina. He walks over to her and puts his hands on her breasts. They're still warm from last night. Only for you. Same time, 3:30. Can we make it 4? I'll be waiting.
Well, we could take a walk and you could kiss me on the veranda.
Lips would be fine.
Later in this scene, it would have been explained how Ned, Dusty, and Lucky came together to form the Three Amigos. So what are you going to talk to Flugman about? A little thing called more? Gee, Lucky, the studio's been pretty good to us. They let us use this house, they gave us clothes. What about money, Lester? You notice your pockets filling up with money? They said they pay us more when our movies made money. Look, our movies do not have to make money. Our movies are artistic. True, you have to pay for artistic. You sure about this, Lucky? Am I sure about it? Look, I'm the guy who created the Three Amigos, remember? Remember backstage at the Grease It Up Club? We couldn't get arrested as individuals, and I looked at us, 3 out-of-work magician's assistants, and said, the three, Lester said Amigos. Yeah, but I said the 3 part. That's a very major part.
The Three Amigos!
Now, a subplot that wasn't really necessary revolved around an actress named Miss Renee, played by Fran Drescher. Miss Renee had starred with the Three Amigos in one movie, and was secretly dating the studio head, Flugelman. The Amigos didn't know this, and badmouthed Miss Renee during their meeting with him. The scene was also discovered in that early cut.
Were you speaking about Miss Renee?
Yeah. The oops girl?
It adds to Flugelman's motivation in firing them just a few minutes later.
It'll be a cold day in hell when Harry Flugelman lets an actor tell him what to do.
Following their firing, Flugelman would have given the Amigos' mansion to Miss Renee. Exterior Amigo Mansion Day. The 3 of them knock at the door of their old house. James the butler answers. May I help you? James, it's us. Yes, it is, but I'm afraid Mr. Flugelman left orders that you were not to enter the house. We just want our stuff, our clothes. Everything of yours is the property of the studio. James, we don't have a change of clothes. That's not my concern, Master Ned. James, for old time's sake. You've known me since I was little Nettie Knickers. We're practically family. I'm sorry, Master Ned. He emphatically slams the door. The Amigos bang on it. From above, the window opens and Miss Renee, the new resident of the mansion, pokes her head out. What the hell is going on out there? Miss Renee, you came to shit, boys. I'm living here now. Harry wants it that way. We need our clothes, our Amigo costumes. You're too late. They came and got everything this afternoon and took all your junk back to the studio. Now buzz off. I've got a big scene tomorrow. I'm still working. She laughs and shuts the window.
Unfortunately, we were forced to play second fiddle to that French cow.
This at least explains why the 3 of them are still hanging around in their underwear later that night. Shortly after this, there also would have been the revelation that the 3 of them are dating Katrina. We've lost our house, our cars, our clothes. At least I have Katrina. What do you mean you have Katrina? I have Katrina. I have Katrina. You don't have Katrina. You don't have Katrina. I have Katrina. I have a feeling none of us have Katrina. So this is what being dead is like. Now, after the 3 Amigos escaped the warehouse with their costumes, it was scripted that Ned, Lucky, and Dusty spent the night hiding out in the studio. They would have run into Miss Renee the following morning as they made their escape. Exterior movie set morning. On the studio lot, a movie is in progress. On the set, Miss Renee is seated in the well of a catapult, dressed as Marie Antoinette. Flugelman and Morty approach, watching the action. She's very nervous about this scene. The great ones always are. The director, the leading man, and several crew members fuss around her, talking down the shot. Okay, here's the scene. You leap in from the window, Cliff and Pete will light the fuse to the catapult, you leap up, and save Miss Renee. You push it to safety over here. Then the empty catapult goes off, and we cut. Make sure you get it right. She spots Flugelman across the set. Hi, Harry! The set springs to life at the mention of the word Harry. She belongs up there, Morty. She's our biggest star, Mr. Flugelman. There is quiet on the set. The director yells action. The leading actor leaps onto the set, but before he can save Miss Renee, the Amigos run through the set. Ned notices the position Miss Renee is in and cannot pass up the opportunity. He grabs the sword out of the leading man's scabbard and slices the rope. She is catapulted over Flugelman's head, through a set wall, and onto a backdrop, which breaks her fall and probably several bones. The Amigos keep on running, laughing as they go.
Don't look, it's Miss Renee.
Another character cut from the film was a crazed mountain man, played by Sam Kinison. Speaking to Empire magazine for the movie's 25th anniversary, Landis said this of Kinison's scene. Sam Kinison did a cameo as a savage mountain man, wearing chicken bones with a bloody axe in each hand. Steve and Marty were caught in his trap and kept shouting at Chevy to shoot him. Finally, Chevy covers his eyes and does. There followed a long scene where the dying cannibal shows snapshots of his children to the guilt-ridden Chevy. It was very funny and insane, and I don't remember why it was cut. Now, this scene is pretty legendary and comes up in a lot of interviews, but I've always been curious as to what it would have looked like on paper. Sadly, the script makes no mention of this character, though. Instead, there is a scene where the Amigos would have been captured by Native Americans and buried up to their necks in the desert. This scene would have taken place right before they get to El Guapos. Exterior Indian Camp Day. On a cliff overlooking El Guapos, the Amigos and Rodrigo are buried from their necks down in a pit of sand. Only their heads are visible. The Indians dance around them ominously. They say this is good for your skin. And we were almost to El Guapos. What do you figure those jars of honey are for? Where? Over there by those jars of red fire ants. They're going to pour the honey over our heads, and then the ants will eat our flesh. That'll be the... He stops himself. Gee, today probably will be the day. As far as I can tell, it was rewritten at some point to be a crazy mountain man instead of Native Americans. As with the Miss Renee scenes, it was felt that this sequence didn't really aid the story, and it was never included in any edits of the movie, meaning that the footage was most likely trashed and now lost forever.
Forever!
The closest thing we have to imagining how Sam would have fit into this movie is probably his scene in Back to School.
Well, pussies like you, we're back here partying, putting headbands on, doing drugs, listening to the goddamn Beatle albums.
Evidently, Sam incorrectly felt that Chevy Chase had lobbied for Landis to cut his scene from the movie. In a 1994 book written about his brother, Bill Kinison elaborated on this, saying, he thought Chase had convinced Landis to cut Sam out of the movie. After all the attention he got for Back to School, Sam thought Chase feared he'd steal the spotlight on Three Amigos. It didn't really make sense, a director as strong as John Landis bowing to an actor. Sam being Sam went with it anyway.
I'm gonna be watching you.
In another interview, Bill detailed more of Sam's scene, saying, they shoot him and he wouldn't die. They stab him and he won't die. They drown him in a river, from which Sam caught pneumonia, and he won't die. All this information makes it sound like Sam's scene was way more substantial than the cameo it was later made out to be, and it's a shame that we can't view it today. As much as I would like to see all of these deleted scenes, the movie as it stands works perfectly. It's tightly paced and the comedy is so rapid fire, resulting in a movie that feels way shorter than its hour and 40-minute runtime.
What is happening around here today? Are gringos falling from the sky?
Including some of these scenes would have only taken away from that, though viewing them out of context would have been a treat. It's hard to believe that this movie was not a major hit upon its initial release, but I do love seeing it continue to grow in popularity as time goes on.
Yeah, they loved us.
It really is a unique comedy with a great concept, really funny performances, and a plethora of jokes. What more could you ask for?
I would not like to think that a person would tell someone he has a plethora and find out that that person has no idea what it means to have a plethora.
Do you have anything besides Mexican food?